I'm Jay Taylor. I'm the editor of a newsletter called Jay Taylor's Gold, Energy, and Tech Stocks, and I'm here at the Metals Investor Forum. It is January 18th, 2020. I'm here with Peter Tallman. He is the president and CEO of Klondike Gold. It's a company I've been following now for 2 or 3 years in my newsletter. It's one of my top picks, a company that I own personally. Very interesting story because it is the motherlode or the source of the massive placer mining that took place in the late 1800s in the Yukon. So Peter, it's really good to catch up with you again. Thanks for joining me.
Pleasure to be here.
Now, it seems as though you've gained a great deal of understanding, or at least you believe you have, compared to when you first went in there to, a lot of people thought that all the gold was already eroded, and there was no use in chasing the hard rock. You've proven that that's wrong. You're finding lots of gold in the hard rock, and some of it's disseminated, some of it's extremely high grade. You had one unbelievable, I don't know, something over 1,000 grams of gold and a similar amount of silver, unbelievable. Tell us what you've learned since you started about 5 years ago, I guess now. You've really learned a lot about the project, and I'm looking forward to drill results that come with this new understanding, but maybe you could go into that a little bit.
Well, I guess it's been 5 years of really intense geoscience. The previous model said that all the gold was eroded away, and that was implied. There was an age date, so the age of the mineralization more or less suggested that yes, it has to all have been eroded away. It was one of the reasons why, way back, we looked at it and said, you know, there's an opportunity here, because if that is wrong, then there's an immense possibility for having to find a gold deposit. And so we've spent the last 5 years doing that. Along the way, we've discovered that there are several different elements that are unknown. So we now have a full structural understanding of the Klondike gold fields, and I can explain the gold in the bedrock. And we found a lot of gold in the bedrock, and also the faults, a second set of faults that were completely unknown until 2018, just the end of the last year. And there was placer miners have been mining them for 100 odd years, and that kind of structure, the fault, the understanding where the faults are, what the orientations of them are, is key to explaining why there's gold in the placer creeks and where there is gold in the bedrock. And fundamentally, it's just a rewrite of the Klondike goldfields.
So what caused you to look at the structure differently? Was that high-grade hit, was that instrumental in turning the lights on for you?
No, we knew we did a really big structural survey in 2018. So there's 8 PhD structural people mapping. Wow. So we had the results of that, and they'd said, oh, look, there's 2 things in there. But then in 2019, we drilled this hole, and it was 1,009 grams of gold and 1,036 grams of silver over a meter. And it's actually 2 different intersects in that meter. One is massive gold seams, and then the mineral Electrum is another zone and rubble zone within the meter. But at that time, not only trying to explain it, I can't explain it. I'm not sure. And we put out a news release and said, you know what, it's a new zone and it's just below the mineralization that we were targeting, and it goes this way. And I think about a week later, we realized, you know what, it's not. It's this other new structural trend that no one has ever looked at. And that's really where it goes. As a consequence, I mean, that's a mistake on my part. But when we have to stop releasing our results now and rethink everything, start from scratch, put it all into this new model, and go from there. And so that's really been the process since September until now. And here we are at Metals Investor Forum, and this is the first presentation to investors of our new understanding. You have some 60 drill holes that you are going to be reporting. I think you're going to report them, even though they were drilled before you had this new understanding of structure. You're still going to report those, and if so, how soon might we see them? The news releases are in preparation right now. Right. So once we get through these conferences, then it'll be ready to go.
And I suppose that you always learn more, even if they weren't holes placed where you would place them now, but what you expect to gain from this.
Well, what we did before we were going to release them, we did a full-scale sectional compilation of everything. And so I can understand now, yes, this clearly is this direction. So there's two directions of mineralization. It's like a checkerboard. They cross. They have two different characteristics, the different directions of mineralization. The longer one is 5 plus kilometers, and we have several structures that length that are mineralized along their entirety. And then this new zone of high grade cross-cuts that, and wherever this new high grade, the more or less the mineralizing gold conduits come and hit that original structure, we think there's kind of jewelry box potential for that. And so we had to make sure we understood, if we're going to report it, what zone are we talking about?
Right.
And it's taken a while to sort it out.
Right. So will your objective be to try to hit those jewelry box zones, so were there intersections of those structures, or what will be your objective in 2020 with your drill program?
Our objective is to outline 2 million ounces of gold somewhere. And right now, still Lone Star is our best zone. It's the longest, biggest, widest zone, disseminated, relatively low grade. But we are going to test for these structural intersections. They're small targets, so I need to learn more about them first. But we're certainly gonna try and hit one.
And how soon, because it's in the Yukon, how soon do you expect to start drilling?
Every year we start usually mid-May.
Mid-May.
And
May till October?
Yep.
Something like that?
Yep.
So you've got, how much drilling do you know yet? Or are you still studying you're still learning and before you decide how large your program is going to be this year?
We haven't got a budget set. We usually announce that in March, but we have 40 drill holes planned
Already,
to test what we think will all hit zones of mineralization, or extend zones that we know.
Yeah,
and usually we drill 80 holes a year.
And these are shallow holes for the most part.
100 meters
so
or
relatively
less.
low cost, and your financing, you're okay. I think you said till 2021.
No, we'll need more money this year.
This year.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
at some stage.
At some stage. All right.
We're backed by financial, like we have access to capital. It's not a big problem.
We certainly think it would help your share price if you could start to announce some high grades, and if you can do that, and certainly. That's what, at least on the retail side, but the ounces are being built, and I know that you showed me a map where you think you can get 2 million ounces, and it's beyond that. There's a lot of unexplored area along structure that you could still be targeting in the future, I suppose. But the immediate goal is to get to that 2 million ounce.
That's
threshold.
Material to majors and material to the market. And underneath that, in the Yukon, that tends nobody really pays much attention if it's below, the numbers below that. This is a forward-looking statement, I'll say. It's like we hope to have 2 million ounces, and we're building towards that.
Of course.
We'll see.
Well, so now you have this new understanding. I know that there have been majors who are aware of your project. Have you shared this understanding with any of the big boys?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I won't ask more, but it certainly seems like to be a very exciting story, Peter, and I look forward to making some money. That's my goal.
Me too. I'm a very large shareholder. I would like to make some money as well.
Yeah, and but you know, it just goes to show you, you've been 5 years on this story, working hard, trying to understand. It's a good illustration of how much science goes into building a mine these days. A lot of investors think you just go out there with a wheelbarrow and a pickaxe or something, and you know, maybe 100, 200 years ago that's the way they mined, but today it takes an awful lot of science. You're in good shape with the natives and all of that, I guess, right? And
they are appreciative of our work, because categorically everything that we touch, we try to remediate right away. So within the year, and I invite them into our property to see how we behave. And we're basically already working in a completely disturbed area. All of it has been mined over 100 and some odd years. So we try to fix stuff, even if we didn't do it, left over, and return the landscape to something closer to what it was.
Be a good,
they're happy
good
with
partners.
us. Yes.
Wonderful. Well, that's very important. We'll leave it on that note, and certainly be watching for those drill results. And I'm really interested in when you announce your program for this year. It's going to be very interesting. Thank you, Peter. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.